Peter Frankopan challenges the Eurocentric view of history, arguing that the Silk Roads, the trade routes linking East and West, were central to shaping the world. He proposes a history that focuses on the Middle East and Central Asia, rather than Europe. Part 1. The Ancient World and the Rise of Trade. 1. The creation of the Silk Road. The earliest trade networks developed in Mesopotamia, Persia, and Central Asia. The Persian Empire, Achaemenids, built vast roads, enabling commerce and cultural exchange. Alexander the Great's conquests, 4th century BCE, connected the Greek world with Persia and India. 2. Rome and the Silk Roads. The Roman Empire's expansion led to increased trade with the East. Luxury goods like Chinese silk, Indian spices, and Arabian incense flowed into Europe. Rome's wealth attracted invaders, leading to internal instability. 3. The rise of religion along the Silk Roads. Buddhism spread from India to China through trade routes. Christianity and Zoroastrianism became dominant in the Middle East. The region became a melting pot of ideas, commerce, and belief systems. Part 2. The Islamic Golden Age and Mongol expansion. 4. The birth of Islam and its expansion. Islamic caliphates, Umayyads and Abbasids, controlled vast trade networks. Baghdad and Damascus became centers of learning, science, and philosophy. Muslim traders and scholars spread knowledge across the world. 5. The Mongol Empire and global trade. Genghis Khan's conquests, 13th century, united much of Asia. The Mongols encouraged free trade, religious tolerance, and technological exchange. The Pax Mongolica, Mongol peace, allowed goods and ideas to flow freely between East and West. Part 3. The Renaissance, European expansion, and the decline of the Silk Roads. 6. The European discovery of the Silk Roads. The Crusades, 11th to 13th centuries, exposed Europe to the wealth of the East. Marco Polo's travels, 13th century, inspired Europeans to seek direct trade routes. The Ottoman Empire, 15th century, controlled Middle Eastern trade, leading Europeans to explore new routes. 7. The Age of Exploration and Colonization. European nations, Portugal, Spain, and later the Dutch and British, bypassed the Silk Roads by sailing directly to Asia. The Columbian Exchange introduced new crops, diseases, and goods between the Old and New Worlds. The Silk Road's influence declined as European empires took control of global trade. Part 4. The Modern World and the Revival of the Silk Roads. 8. The Rise of European Dominance. Industrialization, 18th to 19th centuries, allowed Europe to dominate global markets. The British and Russian empires fought for control of Central Asia, the Great Game. The Ottoman Empire weakened, leading to colonial interventions. 9. The World Wars and the decline of Central Asia. World War I led to the collapse of the Ottoman, Russian, and Austro-Hungarian empires. World War II saw the Middle East become a key strategic location for oil. The Silk Roads region became divided between the Soviet Union and Western powers. 10. The Cold War and the oil boom. The US and USSR competed for influence in Central Asia. Oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Iraq became global economic players. The Soviet-Afghan War, 1979 to 1989, destabilized the region. Part 5. The 21st Century and the New Silk Roads. 11. China's Belt and Road Initiative. China's economic rise, 2000s, present, is reshaping global trade. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, aims to revive the Silk Roads by investing in infrastructure. China's influence is expanding in Asia, Africa, and Europe. 12. The future of the Silk Roads. The world is shifting away from Western dominance back to an Asia-centered system. Technology, energy, and trade routes will determine future power struggles. The Middle East and Central Asia remain key battlegrounds for global influence. Conclusion: a new perspective on history. Frankopan argues that history is not Eurocentric. The real power shifts have always occurred along the Silk Roads. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, these routes will once again shape global affairs.